So for those of you who wanted to talk about Valorant, I think here is the summary of the year. Right. I think we've been together, the two key guys in the org, Eric and Charlie. Charlie is always in chat trying to fact check me. That we've been doing this together for 10 years and build a lot of top quality teams. And our approach to roster construction has been very consistent, which is kind of the group comes up with a list of players we want or players we don't want. And the coach comes up with a list of players he wants or doesn't want. And then we agree on a target list of players. Then the coach hosts trials and then picks which players he wants. But it starts from a pool that we all agree upon. And so this year's Valorant roster was not made that way. There were decisions that we didn't all agree on. And in the past, the way we've always approached it, the way we approached it with Golden Glue when we're building League of Legends roster is everyone coming ideas and then finding consensus on those ideas and then having the interviews and the trials and putting the team together. And this was the first time it didn't go that way. And so that's why when you all saw me being so annoyed after kickoff, that is because there were decisions made that we did not agree with. So now that will not be the approach again going forward. It was not the approach for this League of Legends roster, which, like I said, we built a League of Legends roster from scratch. These other teams were all in the league last year, and we basically started with the coach, really talked with Golden Glue about the players who we wanted to get, and then built this roster together. And I think the interesting thing about the pregame, which is the other pros were hosting the analyst desk, is them saying that, or the one thing about Sentinels is they have the best mental in the league. And so there you go, Charlie in the chat saying, yeah, well, we sat down and talked to Golden Glue about players we wanted or players we didn't want or players that were outside the budget for our League of Legends team. And then we all came to agreement on who we wanted to go get. And then by and large, historically, we've been able to get the players we've targeted because I do think for players, our organization has a very good reputation. And people do want to play here because if you blow up here, you have a very good life. And so that is not what happened this Valorant season. That's why I was so tweaked at the end of the kickoff is we changed our process and the process went crazy sideways. So that is not what we will be doing again. And now we will be back in the lab and figuring out what to do. And so that is what the next few weeks will be about, is identifying who we want to be building from, who the potential players are available. Now this year, there's a big wild card in this mix that Riot is shrinking the number of teams. I've seen reports that they're going down to 8. I don't know if they've confirmed what they're doing, but that's what the reports are I've seen. And so there will be players who will become free agents if their teams are not partner teams going forward. So there's no question we all had a bad year. Kaplan ultimately had a bad year that he got to tier 1 and they lost all 4 maps. Caillou, who went with him, certainly had a bad playoff in tier 1, and we came in 11th. So nobody had a good year out of all this. So now it's about regrouping and starting to rebuild. And so that is, I think it's confirmed. It's only 8 spots. I don't know if Riot has announced that. I've seen it reported. So Chris66, I do not know if that's just reports or if Riot made an announcement on it. Someone can fact check that. But that aside, if players' teams are no longer partner teams, players do have an option of becoming free agents. So there will be a lot going on. Santa's guaranteed? No. It would be a bit troll if we weren't in. But hey, you never know. We certainly have committed our org to Valorant from the commencement of Valorant. We've invested in rosters. We've invested in the space. We've invested in the off season. So we certainly have made a long-term commitment to the game. You know, for Tarek, I'm going to say, and having just looking at my own Twitter, like if you all just go look at the replies to my Twitter, right? I have the ability to go in, read comments for an hour and then not go back. But Tarek is the guy on the front lines dealing with everybody's depression, anger, frustration. And so Tarek can't turn off chat, right? So when you're all tilted or angry, he's the one who's got to read chat. And I think, this year, everything just kind of came together where he just wasn't having fun anymore. And so he decided to take a break, and then we're all going to figure out how to keep moving forward together. I did say to him, I go, I don't care if you want to become a Minecraft streamer. Let's figure it out. So he's just taking a break and then figuring out what motivates him to get back to streaming and having fun with it again. I can't comment on players on other teams' rosters, Falcade, so I won't comment. We're not allowed to talk to or about players under other contract to other team. But obviously, Zelsis was someone who was great to work with. He was a part of our championship run in Madrid. And you know that the org has a lot of love for him, but I can't comment other than that. TenZ did not get kicked out of anywhere ever. Come on, Arcade King. That is the silliest report ever. TenZ did not want to come back to competing. As you can see, if you follow TenZ on Instagram, you can see TenZ is having a great life and kind of enjoying it right now and didn't want to go back to the grind. We don't know yet from Riot what their schedule is with the change in partnership and the dates and that, right? Because they'll be naming teams after champs of who the partner teams are. Then there's going to be a whole round of free agency. And so how that all fits together, we'll be figuring out once schedules start to come together.